And action.
Hi, and welcome to Casual Adult Coffee with Alicia.
And Corey,
Today we're going to be discussing blowjobs.
everybody's favorite topic.
So, just a little bit about us. I am a 40-year-old adult woman. I'm married for the last almost 11 years. And Corey?
I'm single for 43 years and single male, like blowjobs, everything's good.
So, Corey, my understanding is you've had a few of your female friends ask you for advice on blowjobs.
And that was the thing, is my female friends, they're like, one of them, she just got into a new relationship and she was worried about it because she would try and try, but he wouldn't deliver when, and she like took it as like a weird little personal trophy when she would. So it seemed like an awful lot of work for her, and the way she would describe it, like everything else, she was worried that she's not doing it right and everything else. And I think that's where you and I got this idea for this show, is that a lot of, that's what the most of our show will be about, is myths on sexuality and other misinterpretation. So, with the blowjobs, I think women have an awful lot of responsibility or guilt to go with both options. They feel like they haven't done a good job if it doesn't come. But I've talking to my guy friends, I don't think I've ever met a guy go, she's half a woman because she didn't come. So,
And I know from my experience that, my husband has never complained about me giving him one. And I don't think there's really a way to do it improperly as long as you don't bite.
you know, and even that, I've heard stories of I remember infamously, a friend of my brother was getting one from a girl all the way back into our early 20s, actually might have been late teens, and she stopped, looked up at him and said, teeth or no teeth?
Well,
So-
that's nibbling, not necessarily biting.
Agreed. And you'd said, no, like your husband's never complained in his defense, and you know what? If that very important part of me is in her mouth, I'm never going to criticize what she's doing.
But I guess from a female, maybe some little tips and tricks on how we can up our game.
I think, and that's the other thing, is as much as guys love to like brag about their conquests, I don't think guys really sit there and discuss, you know what I really like. It turns out guys really aren't that,
You really are as simple as we like to tease you about?
probably more so. I find, like with me, I find just the fact that she wants to do it, the enthusiasm and passion, that's good for me. I mean, I'm not going to criticize, oh, lick the sides more, grab my balls, do something. I'm like, you know what? If she's enjoying it and she likes it, that's what I need. Sometimes and I told you this the other day, sometimes I get bored with my hands, and some girls like it when you pull their hair, some girls don't. It's almost like they need to tell me just as much communication as I need to tell them.
What? You want us to communicate with you? I thought we talked too much.
Well, you do.
So I guess they're spit versus swallow.
I've actually never had a girl spit it back up in my nest, but I mean, I could see it being,
Or even in a towel, because really, that shit's nasty.
you know, and that being said, I know a handful of girls who like it. They want, because it's like we said about the trophy. I think girls, they want to know they've achieved the goal.
Oh yeah, no. If we're going for gold, and we're gonna finish it off, yes. If it's just for foreplay, different story.
Agreed.
But I know guys or girls or whomever that pride themselves on the fact that, oh, we swallowed.
It's-
But that's just my personal opinion.
You know, and some girls, that's it. Like I knew one girl who threw up afterwards. Like she was about to like, and I was like,
sexy.
I was younger at the time, so I was like, I thought you knew it was happening. But, and I think that's another surprise that women don't, because I guess that men probably do a lot of like responses in that point. I think maybe I casually thought that a woman knows, okay, well, there's the trigger, and that she knew it was going to happen.
So I guess that goes back to the communication. Maybe let us know.
You know what? A lot of times, from my perspective, when it's about to happen, I barely have time to say, there it goes, before there it goes. So sometimes it's as much as a surprise to me as it is to her. And that being said, in my life, I've had a couple girls that were terrible at it. Like one felt like she was actually trying to vacuum it off. and then some that you can tell they just really don't want to do it. And then that's just it. So you're like, I'm not gonna make you. Ugh, gee, I'm sorry. And that's exactly like, it's enthusiasm and passion that are gonna carry through sloppy workmanship.
Okay.
I mean, I had one girl who, and then it's in her mouth, great. But it's not you're doing it, come on, have to move your hair for the lighting and everything else. I mean, that being said, eye contact when they're down there, there was this one porn scene I had when I was younger. It could get me from like right now to like firm in like 10 seconds. And it was the way the girl looked at the camera while she was doing it. You're like, so
So eye contact is a big thing then?
it can be.
Okay.
I mean, some people, when I take my glasses off, I can't see shit. So that being said, she could actually be blinking Morse code, and I have no idea. But, good coffee.
Okay, so to our viewers, eye contact, if he can see, could be a good thing. But again, it comes back to communication.
Yeah, and that's...
And if you don't like doing it, maybe let your partner know.
Well, and then you get both ways. I've met a handful of women that it is a pride to them that she wants to take it all. And you're like, remember I said my hands, you're like, do you want, sometimes a guy will, or at least I have, been really aggressive. You're like, you're doing awesome. But you don't want to poke out her tonsils. But sometimes you're like, this is amazing. And you want to push. But at the same time, some girls, I mean, I've seen enough porn to know that some girls like to be choked. Some guys like to choke them with it. But it's not my thing. But, I mean, that's the thing.
But you can kind of tell if a girl likes that because she's already going to be trying to poke her own tonsils out.
Yeah.
Without any guidance. So again, pay attention to what your partner's doing, and
exactly.
You know, if she's already got her hand wrapped around the shaft and has only taken the tip, you probably know that she doesn't want to, you know.
Well, and that's, yeah, exactly. I mean, if she's like, you know what, that's amazing. That's amazing. Great. That you're like, okay, perfect. We're just getting a like lick lollipop job. But if you're like, if she's like, oh, this is, then you're like, oh wow, okay. So that's, well, as much as every person looks different, every female, every man who goes that way, they all like different preferences, and that's just the trick. Is you have to like.
And I'm just going to throw out there that if it's at the end of a long day, you've been to the gym or you've been in dress pants and stuff like that all day, please maybe tidy up a little bit. Because that area does sweat, and that isn't sexy.
You know, and that's, yeah, I mean, that's just common decency. I mean, you wouldn't.
But what is common isn't always common knowledge.
Surprisingly, less accurate word, but, and that's,
If you want me to shove my face down there,
and sometimes, I mean, at the same
it doesn't
time,
have to
it's,
smell like a flower bed. I
agreed.
would prefer it doesn't. I'd be a little concerned.
That would be a little odd, but I think, and that goes back to my passion and enthusiasm, is spontaneity can sometimes carry an awful lot of weight.
It can.
Because, admittedly, if I'd worked a long, hard day and walked into the house, or if your husband walked into the house and said, honey, I'm beat, you should gobble Rod tonight, that, it might come across as insensitive. But if you ran up to him and said, the kids are all out at their friends, guess what I want to do? Then, I mean, it's the enthusiasm part. And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, if he smells like he just came out of a Turkish whorehouse, you're probably going to be upset.
I'd be more concerned about why he smelled like a whorehouse than.
But that's the sweat, for example.
Yes.
If he smells like he hasn't wiped thoroughly, there's a handful of smells down there.
Exactly.
But,
yeah.
and that's
But there's
that's
certain
again,
smells that are still
there's
attractive. Like,
common decency. Like, if he says, honey, give me a minute, I gotta go to the bathroom first, you'll probably be like, ooh, I'm getting some. But I mean, if he like goes, all right, and you're like, ew, there's toilet paper left behind, that you'll be less attracted. And that's, I mean, some guys, like, I've never really, too many people think that parts of a relationship or physical aspects should be a given. And that's never true.
No.
It's, I mean, you're not Christian Grey tying her up and making her take it. It's, none of those things should ever come into play unless it's, like you said, communicated.
yes.
If she wants to do it that way, ooh, tie my hands up and then force it to me, okay. But for the most part, enthusiasm. That's me.
I agree. It's all about communication and enthusiasm.
So, looks like for the best blowjob ladies, just want it. If you don't want to do it, say so.
Yep.
If you just want to like lick the tip, also good. If you don't want to, great. But you have to tell us. So, any comments, concerns, feel free to leave them in the down below.
And make sure to subscribe. This is our first one. We are planning on doing one probably every 2 weeks. And thanks so
Any
much.
show ideas, feel free to shoot them out.
No pun intended.
Maybe there was.
Have a great day.
Have a good one.